Hello, and welcome back. In today's video, I will explain everything that happened in Stranger Things Season 5, Episode 6. Episode 6, titled The Escape from Camazotz, begins with Dustin desperately tries to get Jonathan and Nancy's attention by running up the stairs while Steve chases after him, trying to stop him. Henderson yells at his two friends not to touch anything. Meanwhile, Nancy has already fired her gun, noticing no reaction. So, Jonathan asks if she missed. At that moment, they notice a large mass of energy beginning to accumulate in a huge sphere that crackles with electricity. So, they both decide to move away. However, at that instant, the sphere explodes, knocking them unconscious. Shock waves ripple through the city and around the world, even reaching the wall where Hopper, Eleven, and their friend watch in disbelief as the waves ripple across it. At 5 a.m., Erica and Murray break into their teacher's house. The girl explains that Henderson is in serious trouble and needs a telemetry tracker. He initially seems reluctant to the idea, finding it inappropriate, and tries to shut the door on her. But Erica stops him, saying that Dustin's life hangs in the balance and that this is the only way they can help him. So, he agrees. Meanwhile, Steve approaches Dustin, who is lying on the ground, having been struck by the sphere's shockwaves. He asks if the generator caused it, but Dustin replies that he was wrong and made a terrible mistake. He explains that when you left, he found a journal, Brenner's journal, which explained that the key to destroying the wall was in that lab, but it wasn't a shield generator. It wasn't black magic, nor was Vecna responsible. It was science. He adds that theoretical physicists called it exotic matter, and that it's a single energy source that holds this world together. He believes Nancy shot him. Elsewhere, Jonathan and Nancy are lying unconscious on the ground, about to be absorbed by the sphere's matter. Steve asked Dustin why it's wrong if they wanted to cross the wall. Dustin replies that Vecna didn't build the wall, so she isn't on the other side. Neither Holly nor the other kids are there, and there's no one there, only death. A car that had crashed into the wall in the presence of Hopper, Eleven, and Callie stops before being consumed by it. So, the three of them look at it intently. But at that moment, the wall opens and absorbs everything in its path. Trees, gravestones, and other objects are consumed by the powerful pull of the wall. Sensing their danger, Hopper tells Eleven they must leave. Dustin continues explaining to Steve that everything they had been thinking about the Upside Down was a big mistake. Eleven notices a portal they can exit through. So, with her powers, she repels all obstacles. Dustin continues explaining to Steve that the Upside Down is a wormhole, a bridge between 2 points in space and time. Steve, trying to understand what his friend is saying, asks what would happen if it collapsed. Dustin, fear etched on his face, replies that it would collapse with them, with everyone. Max and Holly exit the portal and run straight to the cave. Eleven inside, Max tells Holly not to worry as they are safe there and nothing can be done to them. Holly warns about Vecna's arrival. Vecna, limping, approaches the cave, so they both retreat a little further from the entrance. Vecna calls out to Holly, telling her she has to stop or she will hurt Max. He tells her he understands she thinks Max is her friend, but she's deceiving her and poisoning her mind. Holly yells that she doesn't believe a word he says, telling him she's seen who he really is and calling him a disgusting monster. Vecna tells her that if she doesn't come with him right now and join the other children, he'll have no choice but to hurt Max and might even kill her. Max interrupts asking why he won't, saying he's only afraid of a cave and that he's a coward. The man replies that there are other ways to reach her now and tells Holly that when her friend starts to suffer, she'll have to decide whether to come back with him or watch her new friend die. Walking away from the cave entrance, Will finds himself tied up in Vecna's position. So when he wakes up, he realizes he has no way out. He watches as Vecna slowly approaches, asking if he remembers this place and if it doesn't bring back memories. William tells her that Max and Holly escaped and asks if his legs slowed him down. Vecna replies that he does think he's very clever, but he should remember that he did everything since he was the one who invited him in, reminding him that William was Huss Vessel, his spy, and his architect. Vecna tells him that the tunnels did not somehow form themselves, and it was he who created them every single night while he slept. Vecna tells him that he has great power within him, but he shouldn't be mistaken as all of these powers are his and today he is stronger than ever before. He concludes by telling him that the time has come and it's time for his vessels to take them home. Not now though, since Max has one of his vessels. Vecna tells him that there are ways to lure a fox from its den, and he will help him. He will have to act as a spy one last time and thanks to him, he will succeed in his plan. William tries to resist, but Vecna places one of his hands near, telling him that the more he resists, the more pain he will feel, causing the boy to bleed from his eyes. Holly and Max are discussing why Vecna won't go into that cave. Holly tells Max that she spent 2 years there doing nothing. So, she should at least have a theory. Max explains that the Kamazotz prison is part of Vecna memories, including the cave itself, so it might be a place he's afraid to confront, as it must be traumatic. Holly tells her that this memory might also help them escape. Just as the traumatic memories of the prison free them, Holly suggests leaving the cave through a giant hole that leads only to a desert of sand. Max tells her they should stay there since 11 will come to save them. But Holly says she doesn't believe Vecna lied when he said there are other ways to reach her, so they must find another way out of there, leaving the cave. 11 and Hopper return to the house where Will's mother and Mike are. 11 introduces Callie to her friend, who is her sister, mentioning that it's a long story. Hopper asks about the rest of the team, and they all go inside. There, 11 notices that Will is asleep and unresponsive. Will's mother asks her if she thinks they can find her son. Meanwhile, Dustin and Steve are searching for a solution to the wormhole. Steve asks Dustin how long he thinks it takes for a wormhole to collapse, to which Dustin replies that he thought it was instantaneous, but he sees that it isn't. Desperate, Steve grabs the communicator and heads off to find a signal to pinpoint his friend's location. Dustin follows, warning him that the place could be a deadly trap that defies all laws of physics. High up in the building, Steve asks Nancy if she's receiving the signal, but at that moment, they realize they're directly beneath the energy sphere. Jonathan wakes up to find everything around him being absorbed by a white liquid. He wakes Nancy so they can escape, and they try to force open a door, but they can't. Meanwhile, 11 is trying to find Will. Callie watches her closely. Hopper is with Mike, tending to his wounds. Mike asks if Nancy left a note or anything at the church. Hopper tells him she left absolutely nothing. Hopper replies that means they're either a bunch of inconsiderate fools, or they were captured by the military. Mike says that for his peace of mind, he leans more towards the inconsiderate fool theory. Callie busts in saying that 11 is suffering and she hasn't found anything. Hopper asks if she's suddenly an expert on 11, saying she only met her a day and a half ago. Callie defends herself, arguing that she knew 11 before him since they were raised together. Callie approaches Hopper with determination and asks if he really wants to know why she's still there, because she doesn't want any of this to happen again. At that moment, the lights start to flicker and they run to check on their friend's safety. Lucas goes to the hospital and enters Max's room to try to wake her up. Back in the desert, Holly notices a distinctive mark on her telescope's lid. Upon closer inspection, she realizes it's similar to the giant hole they emerged from the cave through. She immediately returns to where they were. Max asks her where she's going, and Holly tells him she has an idea and will tell him in a second. Back at the cave, Holly positions herself precisely where the telescope lid fits the cave entrance, nearly falling into a hidden hole beneath the floor. Max helps her out, noting the depth of the crevice. Meanwhile, Jonathan and Nancy are about to be consumed by the liquid. In a moment of confession, he declares his love, gives her the ring, and asks Nancy to marry him. She accepts and they embrace, knowing their end is near. However, they notice that the ring upon falling to the ground is not absorbed. They immediately realize that the liquid has hardened and their lives are no longer in danger. 11 prepares to use her powers by entering a makeshift bathtub filled with water to optimize the search for her friend Will. And in doing so, she finds his exact location. She then frees Will from Vecna's vine. Max and Holly continue through the cave where they notice a trail of blood. Since it's just a memory, Max tells Holly that nothing here can hurt them. A little further on, they encounter a man who points a gun at them, but what they're actually witnessing is a flashback to when Henry was a child. The frightened boy raises his hands and says he's trying to help, but the man shoots him in the hand, leaving Henry with no choice. He lunges at the man, disarms him, and hits him with a rock he finds nearby, leaving him covered in blood and taking his briefcase. Seeing this, Max pulls Holly away and tells her that everything is all right and that it's just a memory. The girl still has many questions in her mind, such as why the man shot him, and if that was the reason Henry turned evil. Max replies that he doesn't know, but that he's going to find a way out. While removing some rocks from the path, he notices a red light and tells Holly that she was right, and that the prison exit is there. 11 manages to calm Will down and he quickly tells her that Vecna is after Max, that he tried to stop him but failed. Upon receiving this information, 11 gets out of the bathtub and immediately runs to Will, explaining that Vecna is going to kill Max and that they have to get to the hospital right away. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Robin warns Lucas that a Demogorgon is after Max, telling him to take the elevator down the stairs and that he'll see it in the basement. Lucas notices the light starting to flicker, so he takes Max straight to the elevator while the Demogorgon follow them. As they enter, he notices one of the Demogorgon approaching. So Lucas kicks it away and the elevator door closes. Lucas and Max meet up with Robin and Vicky in the basement, only to be spotted by the Demogorgon. They hide knowing their end is near. Just then, one of the washing machines starts running, drawing the attention of the creatures who approach. It is seen that an oxygen tank is inside it, causing it to explode and eliminating the Demogorgon. Holly and Max are standing at the prison exit when Max notices the portal that will take her to where Lucas is. Holly wants to go near it, too, but Max tells her that this exit is for her, that it's her exit, that it leads to Max's body, not hers, and explains that she has to find her own way out. The girl asks if she has to do it alone. Max tells her that all she needs is to connect with the real world, something powerful, something very strong and meaningful, something that makes her feel safe and gives her strength, something that gives her hope, but that also accompanies her in the real world. Max tells her to just try to remember what he means to her. Holly says it doesn't mean anything important since it's just a toy. Max asks if it's just a toy, then why doesn't she take it off? The girl replies that Mike said it has godlike powers and never feels fear, and that if she gets scared, she just has to be like her, and that despite trying, it never works. No matter what they do, it never helps. Holly tells her that when her mother was attacked, she couldn't do anything. She didn't even defend herself. She explains that she had no idea what to do and says that when Henry attacked her, he couldn't help her at all either, and there's nothing heroic about not being able to help. Max tells her that even if she wanted to, there was no way she could have, and asks if she really thought she could kill those monsters with a poker, making the girl smile slightly. Max tells her that she's forgotten important things, reminding her that when they first met, he went into the woods, even though Henry had told him that's where the monsters came from. And then he followed her to the cave, even though he had no reason to trust her. And when he asked her to go back to Henry, she faced danger without hesitation. And today, when she was about to give up, she didn't. He tells her that she's been here alone for a long time, and she could never get out. But that Holly found the way out and that thanks to the girl, she's going to see her people again, telling her that she saved her. Max explains that she needs to understand that heroic Holly isn't just a toy, but is herself. At that moment, Holly's portal opens and they both run to their respective portals, saying goodbye with a hug. And with that, episode ends. I hope that you enjoyed my video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps a lot.